You're listening to Minds on the Mersey, the podcast that's all about strong minds, real talk, and positive mental health for men. We're breaking down barriers, smashing the stigma, and having the kind of open, honest chats that really matter. From everyday struggles to stories of strength, this is where conversation meets connection. I'm your host Sam Roberts, and this is Minds on the Mersey. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Minds on the Mersey. I'm Sam and I am here with my co-host Mr. Chris Guy. Chris, how are we, mate?
Very good evening, Sam.
Happy days, happy days. Right, a few things to get out of the way first. This podcast is in association with the Mersey Mind Project. Chris, tell us about Mersey Mind Project.
Yeah, Mersey Mind Project is a community-driven initiative empowering men in Merseyside to take charge of their physical and mental health. We provide therapy sessions such as our football therapy, peer support therapy, and our, forgot the word, can't remember. What do? We do that much.
Walk and talk.
Walk and talk, which is going to be starting soon. And yep, we do football twice a week, which is massively popular. The numbers have dwindled a tiny bit during the winter, especially on a Thursday night because it's a bit cold outside. But yeah, we're doing really good projects and making a massive impact to men.
Amazing, amazing. And it is also in association with the Shaftesbury Youth Club. That is in the shadows of Prenton Park, Tranmere's home stadium. They do amazing things with kids in the community. Brian, who works there, was telling me that on Tuesday night they had 62 kids attend in the evening, which... Pretty incredible. They do amazing work. Go and check them out. Shaftesbury Youth Club, their class. We also have a sponsor, which we need to mention. Rick and his team over at Pig in Bun, Fermented Sauces, the absolute legend that is Rick. You'll hear about that later on with our amazingly recorded advert. So there we go.
Can't wait for that. And do you know what? I've not actually tried the sauces yet. I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to spice though. So I'm not sure the hot sauce would be for me.
Do you know what? You'd be surprised. They're gorgeous. You'd be, maybe not the full-on hot sauce for you, Chris. Maybe we'll just like ease you in gently, maybe, and just, you know.
So what's the spice level compared to like a typical Frank's Red Hot sauce, which is a massively influenced product?
I think the things with those sort of hot sauces is that they just taste like burn, where Rick's sauces have a proper in-depth flavour to them. They're absolutely, they're levels above.
Garlic, chilli, oh.
They are class, they are really good. So that's Pig in Bun, but like I say, you'll hear more about them in a bit. So, Chris, I have got a question for you, and that question is a question that every fella will probably get asked potentially 10, 12, 15 times a day, and that is, how are you? And what's your usual response to that?
I'm fine, thanks, how are you?
There we go, yeah, but... And I will go, yeah, I'm sound.
Yep.
And that's it.
What's the key rule now? Ask twice.
Ask twice, absolutely. And that's what I wanted to get across. So, how are you really, though, Chris? How have you been?
Do you know what? The last couple of weeks has been a very busy couple of weeks. So, I set up my own business in November. I've gone freelance in estimating. So, if anyone out there needs any construction estimating services, this is a cheeky plug. And it's been really, really hard, if I'm honest with you. I've got 2 clients on board at the moment. So I've been taking on 4 up to 5 days a week, which that's kind of what I've been used to. It scared me a bit because it felt like my life and work balance was going a bit more to work again. So I've taken a step back from one of the clients and just offering 1 day a week instead of 2. It's been really good. Challenges, quite a few challenges. It's coming home in the dark, going to work in the dark has been very, very difficult. I'm not going to lie. Luckily enough, 3 days a week I'm in Liverpool, so I'm just straight through the Wallace's Tunnel and I'm 5 minutes the other side. But yeah, it's been a really busy couple of weeks. I hurt my knee and I've hurt my back as well, so I've not been able to attend any of the football sessions.
That's called age, by the way.
Do you know what? Chloe said that in the car before I was at my mum's earlier. As I said the other week, I take my mum to the Green King in Wigan every Thursday, and I've done that again today. And
pine chips.
No, do you know what? Today it was a chicken skewer with a nice Louisiana style
Oh,
chicken
hello.
bits. Oh, it was lovely. Yeah.
Bit posh.
£6 as well. Very cheap.
£6.
£6.
Can't even get a pie for that nowadays.
No, you can't. But yeah, so I did that, and I was in the car on the way back. I was like, oh, my back is killing me. And then my missus said to me, it's because you're getting old.
Unfortunately, mate, it happens to everybody. Time waits for no one. So there we go. Anything else you've been up to?
Just it has been quite full on with work, if I'm honest. Took Noah to watch the Wigan match the other week, which was quite good. Lost the game against Bolton, but it was an alright game.
Yeah.
Bit of a dire times at the moment at Wigan, unfortunately, with Ryan Lowe in charge. It's been a difficult few weeks. But we'll keep on going. We'll keep on trying, as everyone does. Football, when it's going well, it makes you feel so happy and proud. But when it's going bad, it can really get you down.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I'm a Liverpool season ticket holder, so we are recording this on the Thursday after Liverpool beat Carriabag 6-0 at home, which was fantastic. I probably celebrated it a little bit too hard last night, not going to lie. Felt a little bit tired, shall we say, this morning.
That was an alcohol influence, was it, Sam?
No comment. But, yeah, it might have been. The thing is with it is we've been playing that badly and that poorly recently that a 6-0 win, I need to take it and celebrate it because it's probably not going to happen again all season.
Do you know what? The first 10 minutes I watched the match, the first 10 minutes I thought Carabag did amazing to pass the ball around. I was actually a bit scared for Liverpool.
Do you know what? They came and gave it a go. Fair play to them. They did come and give it a go. But no, that's that's one of my ways of chilling out. So you're saying with work and stuff, being dead busy. Obviously, you just said that you went to watch the Wigan game with your lad, Noah. Is that something that you try and do, to decompress, if you like, is spend time with the family and go and do activities with them?
Yeah, I think it's one of my coping strategies when stuff does get a bit too much. It is to either play Fortnite, which I've been quite interested in the last few weeks. Got into it before Christmas. And even after the Coronation Street Emmerdale's been on at 9 o'clock, I go on it for an hour. And it just chills me out completely. Football on the other hand hasn't, because Wigan have not won a match in a long time. I was planning on going this weekend, and I'm kind of like in the manager out brigade a tiny bit. But you have to support your club through thick and thin. It doesn't matter. You
do, absolutely, and that's been a bit of my gripe with some of the Liverpool fans recently. They've been a bit too negative. They haven't been playing well. That's understandable. But while there's 11 millionaires on the pitch who dictate your mood for the next week, you have to get behind them. So that's what I will continue to do. Anything else you do to decompress, Chris? Any other hobbies that you've got?
Yeah, so do you know what? I just like listening to music. Music is such a beautiful language. Different genres of songs, different bands that I like. I'm not the person who, if somebody says, what music do you like? I don't have a straight answer. I like everything. Even the modern day stuff, I don't mind it sometimes, the odd viral hit. But I think, the Queen style, the rock music, even though it's a bit intense sometimes listening to it, it does chill you out. And obviously, 2 weeks ago, on Monday, I was listening to the podcast.
Well, yes, and that's something I wanted to say, actually. I should have said it at the beginning, but for anybody who did listen to episode 1, thank you so much. Me and Chris are actually a little bit blown away with the response that we got to it. We've had quite a lot of listens. We weren't expecting that many for our first episode. It's not really been advertised much, so thank you very much if you listened. Honestly, it means the world to us, so thank you so much. Thank you for everybody who shared and stuff. It was amazing. Got to give a shout out to Mr. Gillo, who is one of our service users at the charity. He got in touch with some potential advice on the audio editing side, so shout out to Mr. Gillo. Thank you, mate. Much love, much appreciated. What have I been doing since we did last recorded? I've just been busy in work, busy with the charity, which obviously is great. I love being busy with the charity because obviously it means that we're doing something good and positive, and so that's fantastic. I love that. I've been to the peer-to-peer support groups as part of Mersey Mind Project, and they are absolutely amazing. It's just basically, it's a lot like this actually. We just go along, we sit, we have a brew, we eat crisps. We usually fight over the biscuits because people want certain ones, and and I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And
there was a bit of drama, wasn't there? There was a lack of kind of pops in our cupboard.
Oh mate, someone started stealing our stuff. Yeah, but it's been sorted now. It's a padlock and chain that's sorted that right out. But no, that's been amazing. I love going to the group sessions, and all the lads that go are amazing. That like sort of levels me out, on a Tuesday night. I go there, out the house for an hour, just socialising with other fellas, like-minded people. It's unbelievable. I absolutely love it. I'd be lost without it, to be honest with you. Even though I'm running the sessions, I probably get the most out of the sessions for anybody. So
yeah, I think it's when you're there, you want to be the role model to all the men who are coming there and wanted to speak, but it helps you so much. You don't realise it sometimes just from having a conversation. I've been really looking forward to hosting this podcast again this week. Last 2 weeks I've been thinking about when's the new recording day. I can't wait for 2 weeks, because after our first recording I went home and I was so happy. I was buzzing, and especially when you released it on that Monday and I listened to it. I've listened to it 4 or 5 times, and I do think when you're involved with something 100%, you're putting all the effort in, you get much more back than if you put half an effort in, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. When you're putting effort into something, and then you see it pay off, so you see people commenting on the episodes and stuff, it's incredible. So please keep doing that, people. Please keep listening, and please keep commenting and sharing. We really do appreciate it. What else have I been up to? Work's been mad busy. Work's been mental, but that's good because it keeps me out of trouble. If I get bored in work, I usually end up trying to find some trouble to cause. So
it's all about routine, Sam, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I do like routine. That's part of me, me autism and me ADHD. I do like a bit of routine, I'm not gonna lie. We had my steplad's 22nd birthday. Well, he was actually away for his birthday, but we went for a nice meal in Liverpool on Saturday, which was really nice. Went to a Leaf on Castle Street in Liverpool. I would highly recommend that if nobody's been. It's absolutely delicious, Turkish restaurant. I had a mixed kebab for my main course. It was delicious. Garlic sauce and hot chili on it. Oh, mate, amazing.
Do you know what? I didn't mention this before, but one of my coping mechanisms is to go out for a lovely meal with my wife and have Italian. We go to this place in the Lakes called San Pietro, and it's very expensive.
Sounds posh, like.
Oh yeah, it sounds very posh. Probably not for my clientele, my type of clientele. But yeah, do you know what? Lovely Italian. It costs about £100 for a meal for both of you and the drinks, but going up to the Lake District is so good just to unwind. Be in the cold, be in the snow, forget about everything for 24 hours. Although there was a bit of a funny stroke serious story that we had. Unfortunately, we lit a log inside the room. Now, hear me out, because you might think I'm a bit stupid.
I'm literally looking at you here thinking you haven't burnt a building down, have you, Chris?
Nearly.
Okay.
I blame Chloe because she was the one who told me to light it, but it said on it, indoor fire log. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of those liquid-filled fires, which it's only I don't know, ethanol or something. You light it with a candle or whatever, and it's a very small flame. I mistook that for putting a log on top of it and lighting the log inside the room, and I didn't realise there was a fire pit outside where I should have used it. But the thing what confused me the most, last time I went to this place in a different room, you was able to do that, but he had a fireplace. So I think, yeah, it was very stupid. So it ended up with the fire alarm going off, and I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So we had to put the fire out. It was obviously serious at the time because it could have been catastrophic, but it was quite funny when we're looking back at it because we was like, we've come here for my missus' birthday and we've nearly set fire to the place. We just went.
Better to have a fire alarm than actually having the fire brigade arrive and having to put out a fire. Probably, I'd say.
Definitely.
That sounds interesting. Jesus.
Yeah.
What else have I been up to? So I have been obviously prepping for this podcast, which keeps me busy. I like to be busy. If I'm not busy, I'm causing trouble. Mainly to Catherine, Mrs. Roberts. I like winding her up no end, and I do that all the time, which is, I find it great. She doesn't find it so good. I've been planning on going out on my bike again. I can't wait to get back out on my push bike.
It's this weather, isn't it? The weather,
mate. Honestly, last Christmas, not the one just gone, the one before, my 13-year-old Perry, he got a bike for Christmas, and he waited for the January sales. He was quite sensible. He waited until after Christmas when all the good bikes went on sale. He said, this is your budget. And by waiting, he got a mad upgrade on the bike that he originally wanted. And his bike came and it was absolutely gorgeous. And he was riding it and he said, Dad, it's incredible. And I was like, I'd love a bike, just to get out. And I did. I went and bought one. went and bought a bike. I think I spent. My mum lent me the money, so I spent my mum's money. Thanks, mum. Went out and bought a bike, and do you know what? It was one of the best things I did. Me and Perry went out and we did loads of rides. Obviously, I did the challenge for the charity. So in the month of July, I set myself a target of obviously being an absolute novice cyclist, cycling a combined total of 250 kilometres in the month of July. It started off at 200, and then I surpassed my money target, so I upped the money target, so I upped the total, which was absolutely insane. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. But I managed to hit it on the very last day of July, which I was really pleased about. Raised over £1,000 for the charity, which is I think it was like 1,500 quid, wasn't it? In the end?
Yeah, a lot of money, man.
Which I'm amazing. I was really pleased with that. So, and it got me out of the house, and it got me exercising, and I was spending time with Perry. Since then, Finn, the 9-year-old, he's now got a bike, and he's dead into his cycling. He absolutely loves it. So we're all just waiting for that slight change of weather to be able to go back out and have a nice sort of ride out somewhere. And oh man, I miss that so much. I miss it so much.
And we're so blessed, and Merseyside have got so many good cycling routes over the Wirral. You've obviously got the Wirral Way, which is the promenade from New Brighton. You can go all the way to West Kirby, where we want to go to. And Liverpool as well has also got some brilliant rides as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to buying a bike and doing that, because that's something I remember in COVID lockdown, after the first lockdown, I bought a bike then when I was still living in Wigan. And I went on bike rides and I absolutely loved it. It was just headphones in, have a nice hour ride, leisurely ride, wasn't anything serious. Come back home and it just chilled me out massively.
Do you know what? It's the whole exercise thing. Exercise does make you feel so much better. Like when we play the football games here, afterwards you just feel, I go home and it takes me hours to sleep because I'm buzzing. I'm just like, oh yeah, it was a great game of footy, and it just, you know, the exercise and the endorphins and stuff, it really does help me personally. It's one of my main coping strategies is some form of sort of exercise. It doesn't look like it if you look at me, like, but genuinely I absolutely love getting out on the bike. I love having a game of footy, and that's a great coping mechanism for me. It, like I say, it levels me, it de-stresses me. It's almost like a bit of a detox, if you like, because as you say, when you're out on the bike, you're just away with the fairies, cycling away, not really thinking about much, and it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I can't wait to get back out again. More coping strategies for me pretty much involves going to watch Liverpool. I am very privileged that I am a season ticket holder at Anfield, so I get to go and watch the Reds, which is absolutely mental. 11 millionaires basically dictate my mood continuously between August and May, which is pretty crazy when you say it like that, but it's just a massive part of my life. I'm quite lucky that Perry gets to come with me quite a lot. We've got quite a few good contacts who we can usually find a ticket through for Perry, so it's something that me and Perry do together as a bit of dad and lad time. And that's, sometimes the football gets in the way of a good day out. You know, it's the whole thing around it which I really enjoy. So you go to the pub beforehand and I meet all my usual mates and we have a laugh, and we chat football obviously, but we have a bit of a chat like this really before the game, which I think is why I enjoy it so much. And we all take the piss out of each other, and it's phenomenal. It's great banter. And then you go the game and you see obviously, because I'm a season ticket holder, everyone who sits around me are the same people every week. So you get to know them and you build up a relationship with them, and you get to see them and speak to them and ask them how they've been and what they've been up to. And, you know, and they tell you about all their big, you know, like landmarks in their family, like birthdays and christenings and stuff. And that's fantastic. And then obviously you watch the football. If the result goes your way, brilliant. If it doesn't, you're a bit pissed off and a bit down. But then you go after again to the pub, meet up with the lads again, have a bit of a drink and a celebration or a commiseration. And the whole sort of thing surrounding the football is the bit that I love. The football part is great, but it's everything that goes with it. It's almost like a way of life. It's, you know, I've made friends for life through supporting Liverpool and going to the match, and it's incredible. And that really shouting at 11 men that I don't know and have never met really helps me with my mental health. And how weird does that sound? But it's true.
It's true. And do you know what? Football epitomises mental health. It's the key thing that if the results aren't going your way, you can feel down. But when the results go your way, it can pick you back up. But seeing the friends, the whole experience, I've followed Wigan Athletic for years when I was younger. Went to mostly away days. I've seen us win the FA Cup at Wembley. I've seen us lose 3 days later to Arsenal in the Premier League, getting relegated. I was on Sky Sports about 20 times. I got loads of messages saying, "Oh my God, you've just been on Sky Sports more times than Roberto Martinez." And that's still on YouTube now, actually. I've showed that to Noah the other week. And football it's not just the football, it's the day around it. I remember some of the away days that I used to do, and you go on a coach at 9 o'clock in the morning and you have a nice look around Yorkshire, places you never visit ordinarily, and then you go to the game. And like you said, sometimes the worst part of the day is actually football, because if it doesn't go your way, you're really pissed off by the end of it, but you've still got your friends, and it's that experience of watching something that you love. And even though the money has taken over football the last few years, it's still a beautiful game, isn't it? And it just symbolises life. There's so many ups and downs. And, I was saying before about the Wigan Athletic manager, I want him to be sacked and stuff. But then I'm thinking, from a men's mental health point of view, I don't want him to be sacked. I don't want him to lose his job, because why should he? He's trying his hardest. Just because the results aren't going his way, there's 11 men plus all the subs on the pitch who weren't pulling the weight. So I do think in football, the managers are scapegoated a bit. Even Ernie Schlott recently, a lot of people were calling for his head. And it was like, why? Last year he delivered you the Premier League again. And Jurgen Klopp took years to do that.
I'm not getting involved in that.
Sorry.
Not on here. I'm not getting deep into that.
Well, we've got that many Manchester United fans in the group. They were quite happy over the last couple of weeks.
They'll all be turned off now because I've spoke about Liverpool earlier. But I know another thing for me that I really enjoy, and it's very similar to you, Chris, is music. Music for me is like therapy. There's nothing better than just sort of switching off, putting an album, a classic album that you really like, the one that you've listened to for years and years and years, the one you know all the words to, and you switch it on, and you just, most of the time, if I'm cooking at home, obviously being an ex-chef, I do quite a bit of cooking at home, so I'll whack on an album and just stand in the kitchen and cook away and sing away to myself, and that's incredible. But then during lockdown, because I was literally doing everybody's head in my house because I was bored, and when I'm bored, I wind people up because I've got nothing else to do. So everyone was like, you need to get a hobby, you need to do something. So I went and bought a guitar online and got delivered to my house, and the people at Fender who make the electric guitars, they had an app called Fender Play. Oh. And because of lockdown, they basically said, right, the first 50,000 people who download the app onto their phone and subscribe will give you 12 months free use of the app to teach you how to play guitar. And I was like, I'm well up for that. I'll do that. But I missed the deadline for the 50,000, so I was gutted. But then they extended it to 100,000. And then that got signed up within the next 4 hours. And then they extended it to 250,000. In the end, they gave the app free to 500,000 people to learn to play guitar. So that's what I did. I learned to play guitar during lockdown, and since then I've played a few gigs, I've done a few open mics. I played at our charity match at Old Shore Rugby Club a few years ago, and that just to lock myself away in my room upstairs in our house, get a guitar out, I can easily lose 2 hours of the day just sat there, just learning a new song or trying something that I haven't tried before and trying to learn something new, or I literally can just, it's amazing how quick the time will go. If I've got a guitar in my hand, I literally can lose hours and not notice it.
I really did think when you played at Aldershot that you'd been playing it for years, not just probably 4 years at the time. You've been playing it literally in lockdown. That's where you taught yourself. I, similarly before that, probably late 2017 or something, bought a guitar. I was awful. That my rhythm, my hands, the chords, I couldn't play any chords. And when I could, I got frustrated because my fingers wouldn't talk to each other, and it really frustrated me. But to see that you've been able to learn how to play, and I've seen some of your YouTube videos when you're singing songs and the rhythm and stuff like you've got, it's brilliant. Yeah. And that's such a good hobby. And I think one thing about music as well, which I've only just recently realised, is the words behind it, the meanings of every song. So many songs that I thought when I was younger was just like, yeah, decent song, that. It sounds really good, really catchy. But when I've learnt about the story behind the song, of what it was, how deep it was, it's like, wow. I mean, I love Sam Fender, and some of his songs really, really get to me. I played a couple at the wedding when we got married nearly 3 years ago. And the meanings behind the songs meant a lot to me, and that's why I think I've found this new love for music, and not just following the crowd and going with all the stuff what's on the big top 40.
And obviously your lads from Wigan, the Lavums as well.
The
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable band, and some of their songs are so passionate. And I took my wife there, not last summer, the summer before, when they had a concert in Wigan, and she's never really heard them before or been to a concert, neither had I. And we listened to some of the songs that evening, and I was blown away by it. I really was.
I've got to say, the song that the Lavums released called Struggle, they released that 2 weeks after my nan passed away. And that one song literally helped me get through what was a really difficult time. That one song, just listening to it over and over again. The first time I listened to it, cried my eyes out. It was unbelievable. And I actually messaged Alex, the lead singer of the Lavums, and he got back to me. He went, "Oh my God, I'm so thankful that it means so much to you and you've connected with it and this sort of stuff." Absolute lovely fella, really nice guy.
He's lovely, and do you know what? He told the story at the concert in Wigan of how he wrote that song and the age. He was only a teenager when he wrote that song in his bedroom in his 2 Up 2 Down in a place called Beach Hill in Wigan, which is quite a deprived area. And he wrote that because he was struggling at the time with one of his relatives' deaths. And, you know, when it was brought out 2 weeks before you obviously lost your grandma and I think, or your nan, it's just, it connects to you. And you'll remember that song forever. Whenever you hear that on the radio or on a podcast or on Spotify, you'll be like, wow, yeah, that brings you back to my nan.
Yeah,
you know?
it's one of my family's favourite ones for me to play on the guitar. When we all get together, they say, play Struggle on the guitar. So I usually get out and have a bit of a go. Like, if I can get to the end of the song without crying, that is, you know.
No, so. I think bands like that as well, they're still very grounded. You know, they're not a Coldplay. If you message Coldplay, Chris Martin, you'll never get a response. But if you message somebody local who's got a band who write songs that mean stuff personally to them, you get responses. And that makes you feel quite good about yourself as well. That they care about you. They're really
taking the time to talk to you. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly that.
Absolutely. So we've talked a bit about obviously what coping strategies we use and stuff. You know, but is there anything that you recognize in yourself when you feel like, when you go, oh, actually, I'm slipping a bit here, I'm sort of dipping into a dark place? Is there anything that you do and you know that you do and you go, oh, hold on a minute, I need to correct this here?
Yeah, there is. And do you know what? Like I said at the beginning, I've been quite swamped with work the last couple of weeks. And it got to the point where I woke up one Thursday morning, I was doing 5 or 6 jobs, pricing 5 or 6 jobs at the same time. And I had to finish a job off for one client, I had to start another job for another client, and I took too much on. And normally, when I've been waking up on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday, I've been looking forward to going to work into the office, doing the quotes, speaking to subcontractors, suppliers, having conversations, similar conversations to what we have sometimes as well, because some of these people I've known for over 10 years. And when I wake up in the morning and I don't have the passion or the get up to go, that is when I know I'm struggling and I need to do something about it. And ordinarily, I just crack on and I carry on doing it to the detriment of my mental health. But I've realised a lot recently that, as I said in the previous podcast, I do want to take more time with my family and spend more time with my family. And if I'm waking up on a Thursday morning not wanting to do any work, that's not me, because I have such a passion for the job that I do. And when I've not got the passion there, I know I'm falling down into the cracks. And it's just about being honest with yourself, being honest with people. And, you know, I spoke up and I said, listen, I can't be doing 2 days a week. I can only do 1 day a week, because it starts affecting my mental health. And I was very proud of myself for that, because
you should be as well.
I would never ever do that in the last 10 years. I've never done that. And it's been really good to know that I've got the strength to do that. And I think being part of the charity and the podcast has helped me speak to other people with similar situations. A lot of people in construction, as I mentioned, the last one, do struggle with anxiety and depression. It's been really, really difficult for me over the years. But it gets to a point where you just have to put yourself first and not be bothered about what everyone thinks about you. You just need to put yourself first.
100%. I totally agree with that. For me, I realise I'm going into, I call it a bit of a black hole. Yeah. I know I'm going into a bit of a black hole because I start withdrawing myself from everything and everyone. So it'll be like, no, don't want to do that. I don't want to go and play football. Don't want to go out on my bike. I'll go and sit in my little man cave room that I've got in the house upstairs, but I won't get a guitar out I'll just sit and stare at the telly, not really watching anything, just sit staring at it, just so I'm away from everyone else. And that's when I know, oh, actually, yeah, I'm slipping here. I need to do something here. I need to kick myself up the arse and sort of, come on, you can do this. You've done it before. You can do it again, sort of thing. But obviously, I need the help of the people around me as well. And I've got to give a massive shout out to Catherine, Dylan, Joel, Perry, and Finn, who are my immediate family at home, and then my wider family, like my mum and dad, and my sisters and my brothers. They've helped me so much over the years. It's unbelievable. Especially my mum. I can sort of phone my mum and talk to her about absolutely anything, and she'll just sit and listen, even though she's got so much shit herself going on, and she's got all my other brothers and sisters, all three of them, phoning her and doing exactly the same thing, and she's taking all that on her shoulders from all of them. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, but she's still, that's what mums do. They're superheroes, aren't they? So
behind every strong man is an even stronger mum.
Yeah,
because
and a wife.
And a wife as well, obviously.
If you're married, obviously.
If you are married, yeah. Or partner, doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's really good to talk about, because you've gone through the experiences over the number of years that you've been on this earth, and you've learned from stuff. You've kind of thought, oh, next time when I'm in this situation, I'll do it a bit different. But you do rely on people like your wife or your mum to give you that advice, and you can help them as well when they're struggling. You grow stronger together, and I think that's so important. Any relationship that you have is built on trust, and being able to trust somebody. Ring your mum and say, oh, mum, I'm really struggling with this, and she just drop everything and she'll help you out. I've had that situation with my mum before where I've dropped everything for my life, and I'm like, I've talked about it in the previous episode again, where I split up with my ex, I sold the house, I got made redundant in my job, and I went to my mum, because that's the person who I knew would help me.
Yeah.
And it's really good to understand that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've got to give all them a shout out. Love them. To all the mums out there, amazing, absolutely fantastic. We'll call that the end of part 1, I think, Chris, and we'll be back for part 2 in a minute after word from our sponsor. Did it again. Not as good as last week, though. It's time to tell you about our sponsor, Pig in Bun. Pig in Bun specialise in making small batch condiments with a focus on fermentation.
But Sam, what is fermentation?
Well, Chris, let me tell you. Rick at Pig in Bun makes a mash, which is a rough puree of ingredients like chilies, garlic and peppers. He then adds salt and leaves it in a fermentation bucket for between 10 days and 3 months. This process adds a savoury depth of flavour, tang and spice. It also creates probiotics which are good for your gut and extends natural shelf life.
And let me tell you, they taste incredible. Pig in Bun sells a range of condiments like their barbecue sauce and signature hot sauce. Go and check them out at piginbun.co.uk. That's piginbun.co.uk. Or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you to Rick and his team for their support. If you or someone you know is having an urgent mental health crisis with a risk to life, please call 999. For immediate support, Samaritans offer free 24/7 confidential support. Free phone 116 123. Shout offer 24/7 crisis text support. Text the word SHOUT to 85258. For non-urgent help, please speak to your GP, who can signpost you to local services and charities.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's podcast. So, in the first episode, Chris, we spoke about someone and potentially trying to get them on as a guest.
Yep.
We said we'd love to get Carly Openshaw on as a guest. It would be absolutely class to have her on. Well, guess what, people? We don't just chat shit, we deliver. Carly Openshaw's here!
That's the first time anyone's going to get a clap on this podcast.
How are we, Carly? You okay, my love?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure. Honestly, thank you so much for coming down and taking the time. We really do appreciate it. We really, really do. Tell us about your CIC, your charity. Tell us all about it and how it started and what made you come up with the idea.
Okay, yeah. So, Tiny Tools for Big Feelings is the name of my CIC, and I work with children, parents, adults, all around anxiety, emotional regulation, and mental well-being. So my background was really in health and social care, children's residential homes, but a huge part of why I've done this is shaped by lived experience. So as a parent, And as someone who's seen how mental health kind of ripples through families, so when your child's struggling, it affects the whole family and society as a whole, saying that. And I struggled to get help from my then 7-year-old, who got turned down for CAMHS because he wasn't severe enough. But there was no other support for him. So I decided to take matter in my own hands and set up a CIC.
Absolute class, honestly. I've been through the same struggle with my little lad Finn. He's now 9, but I know that battle so well. It's so stressful. It's honestly, you have to fight so hard to get anywhere with it all. Honestly, it takes its toll. It does take its toll,
as well as time as well, isn't it?
Time, it's time, but as you say, it's when you should be spending quality time with your family. You're too busy, you're writing things, you're emailing, you're phoning, constantly on the phone. I mean, I said on episode 1 that I'm quite lucky that my wife is 100% Scouse, and she gets a bit between her teeth when it comes to her kids, mate. She won't let go of it. That's it. But she, honestly, I say we fought. She did so much of it, and she had to battle just to even get him seen. It was crazy.
That's the problem. And 3 out of 4 parents with SEND children have to leave work because of it. So that just shows the impact on families, on income, on relationships. It's so large, the problem. And I don't think it's realised. Like, people, say, oh, your kid's, neurodiverse or whatever, oh, it's just, it's fine. It's not. It really isn't when they struggle. It's just not at all.
No, it's not. No, absolutely not. It's, I mean, little Finn, he started off in a mainstream primary, and he was home by probably latest 10:30 every day.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't know how to cope with him. He had a 1-to-1, but they were using the 1-to-1 as an extra pair of hands in the class, basically, which is really sad, because she was there to help Finn, and that didn't really happen.
The funding pots, the way it's done is, although in an EHCP, for example, they get, they're asked to have a 1-to-1, or that support is needed a lot of the time, because their schools can't afford to get as much help as actually is needed. It ends up that way. So you're sharing 1-to-1s that, they're supporting other people. And then, obviously from there, then it's not giving them the support and the care that they need to thrive. And that's what it's about. These kids shouldn't just be, it's not about giving them extra help to make it special or whatever. It's about giving them help to thrive so they stay on the same level as their peers. And that's what it's about.
Well, so now Finn he's in an ASD school. It's called Hope School of Excellence up in Chilwell in Liverpool. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. When he went there, he was probably 2 years behind every other child of his age. And now in 2 years, he's caught up and surpassed.
That's amazing.
Which, honestly, not even that, just like they're teaching him about him. And they're teaching him about how to cope with his emotions and what his emotions are. They're teaching him what they are and why he's getting them. And it's honestly, they're just so good. It's unbelievable.
I think another thing is the resource, like you said, Carly. I know my 11-year-old has ADHD, and we tried our best over 3 years to get a EHCP in place. The school said because they've already got so many people in the EHCP, they can't take any more kids on. Yeah. Which at the time, as parents, we were absolutely fuming with that. Like, why could they not take our child serious? What's so important about everybody else apart from our child? It was really, really quite a dark time for us going through that. But knowing yourself personally over the last 3 years or so, Carly, it's been a massive thing that you've left a full-time job to focus on your CIC. Yeah. And I think Tiny Tools for Big Feelings, the work you've done already. A lot of CICs and charities say they're going to do something. They don't normally deliver. Yeah. You've delivered.
I think that's, when I started, I don't think I realised quite how much need was going to be there. I've always thought emotional regulation should be taught at primary schools to every child, not just child who struggle, every single child. It should be part of the curriculum. Because if you can't emotionally regulate yourself, everything else goes out the window. And unfortunately, a lot of adults can't emotionally regulate themselves. And then what happens? And then what happens is you've got a parent and a child, and both of them can't emotionally regulate themselves. And if there's anxiety with one, it breeds the other, and then it just becomes a place where nobody knows what anyone's doing. So I think that's the biggest thing. And when I started in the June time, up until December, I'd seen 56 children in that short space of time. And that, to me, I never really expected it. My husband was like, let's just see how it goes, just take it easy, do a few sessions, but it'll be fine. And I can't work now because my diary's full constantly.
I've got to say, it's very brave of you to go from having a full-time, very regular, secure job to go in to do that because you saw that there was a need for it. I think it's very brave that you've done that. I'd imagine the families that you're helping are so grateful that you've managed to do that,
Yeah, it is. And I build such good relationships with the families. A lot of families will ask me to help with school or like, can I write a letter to support like what they're saying to school and, and support them at meetings or, and stuff. So it kind of doesn't just end with the child, and that's alongside courses. Like I do parents course to understand your child's anxieties and ways that the parents can help. But also I'm getting a lot of dads coming to me, which is really relevant to yourselves. So I get a lot of dads coming to me going, I just don't know. And generally men deal with things very, very differently than women. And I think that I heard last week you were saying about, men don't cry and all these stupid things you hear. And I've done quite a lot of videos on that because if we teach boys this, they grow into men who can't then cope. So, we need to change the narrative around boys and tell them it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to, to express those emotions. But yeah, a lot of dads are coming to me now saying, look, can you help me because I'm going to lose my family or my family's going to break down because of this. So
sad. It's so sad.
What are some of the effects anxiety can have on children if it's not recognised or supported?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is often it looks like behaviour and people just blame it on naughty behaviour. It's not, it's fear a lot of the time. So you might see shutdown, anger, school refusal, sleep problems, physical problems. I think what's often missed is the quiet kids. And this is my Harrison. You know Harrison very well. So Harrison is the most quietest, polite child that you'd ever meet. Overly polite because he compensates for his anxiety. So he's overly polite. And the teachers say, oh, we just love a classroom full of him. But they don't see the anxiety inside him and how he breaks down afterwards. And those kids are the ones that are hard to reach because they mask.
All day at school. He's holding that in and then he gets home and I imagine it all gets let loose then.
He just literally, like Harrison, he just cries. Like it'll just come out in crying. It doesn't come out in anger with Harrison, but then it comes out in stomach aches. I've got tummy ache. I feel sick. So all those physical emotions, they don't know what they are. They don't know why they've got that. So they, Harrison then panics going, oh my God, I'm really poorly and this is going to happen and I'm going to be sick and I'm going to do this. Then he works himself up more. Yeah. So it's about teaching kids that what the emotions are, first of all, what they're feeling and giving them tools to be able to then deal with that feeling. And that's the whole thing that we teach is we don't just say, oh, this is anger or this is this. It's like, right, okay, when this happens, you're going to now recognise it and be able to do something with it. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, really.
I mean, for Finn, I think one of the most basic things that they do at his school is they have the colour chart of emotions. So red is like, leave me alone. But green is, I'm feeling fantastic. And every morning when he comes in, they ask him, put your marker on your chart. How are you feeling today? And obviously, if it's orange or red, they say, well, what can we do to get it back down to yellow or green? And
that's really good. That sounds like a really good school.
He does that at home now. He does it at home. So a lot of his coping strategies that he's learned in school, he'll bring home, and then I learn them from him. Yeah, for me,
exactly.
Genuinely, which is like incredible.
I bet there's a lot of schools out there who don't do that though. Don't understand it.
No, there's a lot, and there's a lot of schools. So I think funding's a massive problem. I think a lot of people want to do it, but they can't, like they genuinely can't. They haven't got the funding or they can't afford to do it themselves. A lot of schools do get in touch with me and I'm trying to help. The problem you've got with a lot of funding for CICs is they restrict the school hours. So for example, if I got national lottery funding, I can't deliver that in school hours. I can only deliver it outside school hours, because the funding criteria is that the schools should be providing that. So if you're going to go into schools, they need to pay you for doing it. So they won't allow me to deliver that.
That's insane. That is
so I work basically the only evening I don't work is a Friday. So I work every evening doing groups.
Friday is wine night.
Yeah, Friday is wine night. Friday is my husband goes to the pub for a few hours and I sit in the living room with no telly on, nothing, just a glass of wine going. you've spoken to so many people all week, you just need to be quiet.
That's brilliant. And what kind of therapy sessions do you offer at the moment? What kind of stuff do you do?
So we offer art therapy, which is really, really successful. So therapeutic art for children and adults. We offer emotional regulation, anxiety coaching, again, children and adults. We offer parents courses to help parents understand their child and how to look at it in a different frame and how to react differently. We offer women's ADHD and hormone course, which is a really big topic at the moment on how many undiagnosed women. And I heard you talk about this last week as well. So I'm 45 and I've only just been diagnosed. And women generally can cope in life. They find coping mechanisms until hormones hit, and then estrogen drops and your dopamine is totally out the window and you can no longer cope. So that's a really, really interesting course. All the courses are trauma informed. They're all written from science, all written from a neurodiverse point of view, and they're all fun. They're not boring, just sit and speak to me, because I wouldn't get anywhere with the kids if I tried to do that. Especially if they've got like a PDA profile or anything, that's not happening. So yeah, it all really different. We do grief and we do sleep and we do a few other things as well, but they're the main ones.
That's brilliant. Just going back to the school bit, I know school attendance is a massive issue at the moment. I just want to read this quote that I saw the other week from Anna Maxwell Martin. I'm not sure if you saw her on, it might be Good Morning Britain or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll quickly read it out as quick as I can. Children who are not attending school and have low or poor attendance, the reason won't be because they can't be bothered, it's because they are unable to be in school. And so what needs to happen is that school environments need to be a person or place of safety for that child. And when that happens, the attendance will improve. And that's why I campaign against anything punitive to do with attendance. When you introduce a punitive element, you miss everything about child mental health. Fines and the approach that we have at the moment don't work. People living in poverty, a fine can push you over the edge. It's an exceptionally cruel thing to do. We need to start back at the drawing board and actually just meet the needs of children in school. More pastoral care, more support, more compassion, more consistency of care. What do you think of that?
100% agree. I obviously help a lot of parents and a lot of children. So a lot of the children I see are classed as EBSA, and I hate the word like the school refusal. It's not refusal, it's school anxiety. So if a child's brain, and not a lot of people know this, when your brain is anxious or when your brain is negative or got a really bad frame of mind, you grow your amygdala in the front of your brain. So you actually physically, if you did an MRI, you would see the difference in the brain. So you grow your amygdala. Your amygdala is what basically tells you, don't go out there, it's scary, school's horrible, do you remember what happened with that teacher, do you remember this, do you remember? And it's constantly sending these messages. What then happens is the logical part of the brain can't commute with the person because the amygdala's grown. So they're not trying not to go. They genuinely can't. If they're not safe in their brain, they can't, and they can't learn once they're there anyway. So it's absolutely pointless. The idea is you shrink the amygdala back down, and then the logical part can start bringing safety back in, and they can feel safe. And that's literally all the work. So we've been really successful in getting children. In September, I started seeing a little boy refuse school totally, 7. Refused school totally, I just couldn't do it. He was like, no, I can't. He'd have meltdowns. He came to me. We started with 10-minute sessions because we couldn't do any more. He literally just couldn't do any more. I noticed the environment I was doing the work with him. He wasn't comfortable. So I went to his house, started going to his house, go to his house every week. He's now back in school half days every day and is fully engaged in school. And we're working on the second half. Lunch is a bit of a problem at the moment. So we're working on that and how to do that. But that's just one example. But it just takes time, but it takes understanding from schools because, as you said, I've got parents getting threatened with fines. I've got a child with an 8% attendance, and she's been refused an EHCP with 8% attendance. Wow. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And she's due to go to high school in September. And for 2 years, she hasn't been in school properly. And they're expecting her to go to a mainstream school.
I know we're laughing about it, but that is like serious, isn't it?
It's horrendous.
Anyone with common sense can see a child with 8% attendance who's due to go to high school. They're clearly struggling with something.
And her mum takes her every single day and she lasts half an hour and her mum has to be there. She will not leave her mum. So her mum isn't not going to the school, isn't trying. Her mum's had to give up work. Single parents had to give up work, struggling. And then you think about Cam's waiting list of two years minimum. To get a diagnosis of any sort, you're probably looking 2 or 3 years, if not longer. Some people are waiting a lot longer. So the system at the moment just isn't working. And I say with school all the time, it's trying to put square pegs into round holes, and it's not working anymore.
What would you do to try and fix? Listen, it's a big fix. It's not our job to sit here and be the government, but what do you think the government could be and should be doing to help this and to keep more kids in school? I mean, at the end of the day, I get an email every week about my lad's attendance, and we want 0 sick days and stuff. If a kid's sick, a kid's sick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it all seems to be target driven.
Statistics.
Statistics and target. Yeah. It's just mad. It
is. I think, first of all, we need to put kids to the forefront and not what we're trying to tick boxes for. Teachers go into the profession to really make a difference to children's lives. And unfortunately, there's that much red tape and that much they're trying to meet. That a lot of teachers, the sickness level in teachers is massive because of the stress being put on them. For me, we've got a new generation of problems. We've got what I call COVID babies that are coming through who are going to reception not prepared, can't socialise, really bad social anxiety. We've got tots that can't emotionally regulate themselves. I'm starting a new course very soon. We're going to do a tots course and a reception course, which I don't know whether I'm mad or what, but I think it'll be fine. But for me, that is let's start that emotional regulation. Let's start making them realise what their feelings are, how to deal with them at a very young age. The second place is schools have got to be safe places. They've got to be places where, if you think of neurodiverse children as well, sensory issues, they make them wear a uniform and keep a blazer on all day. Jacob, my one of my other children, so I've got 3 boys and then we've got a girl. All 3 boys have got neurodivergent. My eldest is ADHD, middle child, he hates me saying that, sorry Jacob, is Asperger's and ADHD. But he comes out of school like this, pulling his shirt off his neck because he just can't bear the feeling of it around his neck.
Finn's the same, so you always know when Finn's home because you open the front door and there's his shoes, and then 2 yards later there's his jumper, and then there's his shirt, and then there's his shorts, then there's his boxies, and then he lives in pyjamas.
Yeah, that's Harrison.
Yeah, he literally lives in pyjamas because that's how he feels comfortable.
Yeah, and it's that feel. Like, I hate socks and shoes. I really despise them. And a lot of neurodivergent people don't like them, and that's one thing I do in my session. I'm on the floor with the kids. I'm not we do stuff. First thing I do as soon as I go in is my shoes are on the side, and they all look at me and they go, "Can we do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, take your shoes off. I don't care if you come in your pajamas. Don't care if you come in nudie.
Take them off here if you want. Yeah. Only take your shoes. It could make you feel comfortable.
I've been in them all day. They might smell a bit. I won't do that to you."
But do you know what? I think that bringing those kind of home comforts to that environment is important, and to make them feel at home and relaxed. Because I know not all the time they're relaxed at home. I know my 11-year-old who's got ADHD, he has really good in school. So he's medicated Monday to Friday. Weekends he don't have any tablets. So weekends we kind of see the forefront of what is actually going on in his brain. But I know even that is so, he's got his own traits and stuff, and you just, as parents, you question yourself all the time. Can I be a better dad? Can we do anything different? Do we give in all the time to him, or do we be so serious with him, take everything off him? There's like a middle ground you need to discuss between yourselves, and it causes a lot of friction with parents as well. Yeah. That relationships with parents.
100%.
I'm not sure what it's like in Merseyside, the statistics, but it's quite a deprived area. A lot of places in Merseyside are deprived. So that single parents, that comes into the play as well. It's very difficult.
It is. I think in Merseyside, it was 76% of children with disabled, 76% of parents with disabled children actually showed signs of depression because of how they have to handle their what's going on with their lives. It's really, really scary. Like some of the stuff you see, what was the other one I saw? 60% of children in poverty live and work in households in Merseyside, which is a really scary stat.
I saw that on your LinkedIn yesterday, and that shocked me. I read it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's things you don't realise. And, as Sam says, the government's very good at wanting to tick boxes and all the data behind it, the stats behind it. But isn't every child unique? Not what a certain method might not work with one child. You might need to try a different method. What kind of methods do you use at the moment for your?
So for me, I think one of the biggest thing is individual. I can't say that word. Is treating them all individual.
Nice
you'll get used to this.
Nice
I really struggle with certain words. Treating them, but also building rapport and finding out. So, like, for example, I know what they're like passions are, or what they're into, what they do. I take my time to understand what's going to work with them, because what might work for one child, like I've just literally had art therapy before I come here, and the stuff I've learned in that lesson was unbelievable about sharks and different, because what you find generally with neurodivergent children is they hyper focus. So and that hyper focus might be 1 week, and then the next week it might totally change. And if you're still thinking the hyper focus is here, you lose them. So I think that's one thing for me. The tools that we use to help kids, stick with them. They all get a journal that we work through, they take home, they bring it back, and then they keep it. And the simple things, so I'm not asking them to do things that they're not going to remember. Like one of them is squeeze your finger and thumb every time you're happy, confident or calm. So keep doing that, just 3 seconds. And then what you're doing is you're tricking your brain, because what your brain's doing is going, oh, she's having another one of those happy moments. Oh, they're having another one of those confident moments. So then it gives you more of that, because and it's like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym once and suddenly become a bodybuilder, do you? You have to train your brain. So it's exactly the same.
I think like Sam said earlier, I know you weren't here earlier on the podcast, but his passion he got was playing the guitar, a coping mechanism. Kids nowadays, what kind of stuff are they leading into? Is it music? Is it art? Is it poetry?
I bet I know that. It's probably Fortnite and PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, if it's anything Finn goes on.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think computers play a massive part in our lifestyles at the moment, and for children. However, I think they can be used. So like things like coding courses, so they can learn to code. You're still teaching them lessons within that. Art is massive. I can't believe how much art has took off for the therapeutic art. Like each group is full as soon as I put it out. So art's a big one because it's relaxing. But we don't just draw. We do glitter jars. So today, for example, they've been painting jars, and then we fill them with like it's like a glue, but it's a different type, and then we put glitter in, so that they become like snow globes or like lava lamps, and they're really relaxing for them. We do t-shirts with their own emotions, so they design their own t-shirts around their emotions. So it's just thinking of different things. But yeah, art. I think music plays a massive part. Anything to do with your senses, because you have to interrupt your thoughts. So movement, your senses, feel, anything like that will interrupt anxious and negative feelings.
Yeah, for Finn, like that. Finn is in his bedroom. He's got loads of different sort of lighting and stuff that he can change the colours of and do that, and he absolutely loves that. He's also got a lot of like cuddly toys, but they've all got like a different sort of feel to them, so he can change which one he's cuddling at the time. He's got his regulars like Mr. Monkey, that's never going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Just made out of an old pair of socks, by the way. But yeah, he's got like that sort of stuff, which obviously that really chills him out. Something I wanted to just quickly circle back to was something that Chris mentioned, was obviously in certain deprived areas and stuff, there's a lot of sort of adults now who sort of probably didn't get the education that they probably could have got. And I know from obviously experience when we were trying to get Finn and even Perry like diagnosed stuff, the amount of forms and stuff you've got to fill out and the amount of hoops you have to jump through. If you're a single parent and you aren't great at filling in forms, maybe you're dyslexic, you're not great at these things, and then you've got to do all of this all of a sudden for the benefit of your child. And if say you're a single parent or even two-parent household, and they can't do that, they must have a feeling of, I'm letting my kid down here.
Yeah.
And that's horrific. That's so bad.
It is. And I'll be honest, I think the system is set up for people to fail. I really do. I think they make it so difficult for parents, and for, if you like, especially where they look for keywords. And if you haven't put certain keywords in, and if you don't know what you're doing, if you've never had to do anything like that before, it's petrifying. And then getting the rejection, and, I think for me, I think the support, there is people who help, but they're so everyone's just chocker because there's so much need. So, if you try to go citizens advice, or I know there's Involve in Rock Ferry, they support with things, but it's getting in with these people. And I think that's the hardest thing, is because there's just no, and you've also got to have the confidence to go and ask for help, because that's another thing, because you may not feel comfortable going and asking for help half the time. With my parents, the lady, and she wouldn't mind me saying, the lady who's got a child who's got 8%, she's just got refused her EHCP, so she's going for, she's challenging it. So she asked me to look at it, and I wrote her loads of points, and I just wrote, right, say this and use this act, say this and use this act. And she's like, Carly, I don't know, I couldn't have done this. and I just print that out and take it in with you. There's nothing wrong with taking it in. Yeah. Just do that. And, I said I'll go with her and stuff. But I think for me, it's a constant fight, and it's hard enough having a child who's anxious or neurodivergent or whatever is going on, bereavement. We've got a boy who comes to sessions who's just had a loss, so he comes for that reason. He's confident, but he's not coping very well with the bereavement. So I think for me, having that and having to deal with that is enough, without having paperwork and and just obstacles put in your place all the time.
That's how it felt like for us when we were going through it. It was just another hoop to jump through, another hurdle to get over. It was constant, you've done this bit, but you now need to do this bit, and that bit, and that bit, and that bit over there as well. And it's just seriously, honestly, it's so hard.
And us
so
dads
hard.
as well, like we said earlier, men, we really struggle to speak up when we're struggling. So no matter if we're struggling ourselves, imagine if your kid's struggling and you feel like, I can't even speak up for myself. Never mind my kid. I can't. I need the help in that regard as well.
And it's making parents feel like they're failing the children, and it's just totally wrong.
Yeah,
totally wrong. It's like you said, the odds are stacked against you from the start. Really. If you're honest, it's not good. Yeah. It's really not good.
I think the thing is as well, and that's a lot of the videos I try and put out on social media, is to reassure parents that they're not doing it wrong, and whatever suits your family is right. I had a young person the other day, and she really struggles to eat in front of people. So she was like, Mum was like, well, she wouldn't come to a restaurant with us. We can't go out with family as meals. And I was like, okay, well, can she not eat before she goes out? And Mum was like, well, yeah. I said, does it matter if she doesn't eat in the restaurant just as a drink? Who cares what people think? Absolutely. Doesn't matter. Absolutely. So now she eats at home, goes out and just gets an ice cream or she doesn't even get an ice cream. She gets a drink or whatever, but she's with her family in a social setting. Yeah. It's whatever your barrier is, get rid of your barrier and don't care what other people think. Don't let people judge you. Society is such a place of, and social media is horrendous for it, of this perfect world with perfect families and perfect parents. It's all rubbish. There is not such thing. It does not exist. It doesn't. I'll be honest. I teach this thing and I still go home and sometimes Harrison's there and I'm like, oh, what? And I teach other people. So, we're not, none of us are perfect, and social media lies to us and says we need to be these perfect people, and it's rubbish.
Yeah. And I think hearing what you're saying there will help so many people, because it's almost like an arm around your shoulder and saying, listen, you're not a failure. You're not failing your children. This is hard. This really is difficult, and you're doing your best. Just keep going. You are doing your best. It's so difficult, so difficult.
What kind of advice would you give to parents who think that the child's got themselves stuck in that rut for months and they don't have any belief that their child will get any better or go to school or improve on what they're doing?
So I think this is another... Getting me on my soapbox. There's another thing. I think people say to parents or children, oh, you've got anxiety, you are diagnosed with anxiety, that's it, you've got it. Okay, so yeah, you may also always suffer from bouts of anxiety, but anxiety isn't a permanent state. So if you can get the tools and you can work through it, you can make that better. I'm not saying you'll never suffer again, but the thing is that I think it's so easy to go, oh, have a pill for anxiety, you know, especially for adults, not so much children, but maybe for adults, you know, yeah, here's some pills to calm you down. Really, is that the answer? Because we're not teaching them how to do anything. We're just trying to go, off you go, you're all right.
Is it not just masking the issue?
Yeah.
It's just masking it, isn't it, really? Rather than dealing with the root cause of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just masking the issue.
But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I truly believe that we can, you know, you can work, you know, as I say, I've worked with children who haven't been out the house for 4 months. She's back refereeing, she's back in school, she's back playing football. Like, she didn't leave the house for 4 months. Like, this doesn't happen by chance, you know, and these are just some of the stories. Don't get me wrong, some people take longer, and, you know, I might say to a parent, listen, this isn't going to happen in 6 weeks, but we'll keep working on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the good thing, is I'm not governed by like a bigger company that says to me, you only can deliver 6 weeks and then you have to discharge them. I just do what I see fit for that child.
That's remarkable, Carly, because I've seen your passion before in other ventures that you have, whether it's work or whether it's football, when you was our community officer. What I see in you as well is you believe in every single child. And it must be difficult for you to go home to your kids who are obviously struggling as well. And you are probably sometimes turning your hair out because one kind of method that you've used for a kid has worked.
Yeah.
You go home and try to use the same on your own kids and they don't take to it. And you're like, oh my God, well, I'm meant to be like the expert in this. But that's just your kid. I completely get that. I always used to coach the football team, and my son was part of the team. And I used to, you know, push him, but he used to always give me loads of abuse back and say, stop getting on my back and all that. And I realised that wasn't because he didn't like me. It was because I'm his dad.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with other dads who coach or referee the kids, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I think every kid is unique, and what you're doing, what you've set up, is something that should have been in place many years ago. Yeah. And it's such a shame that there's not many other organisations like yourself who have been set up and I've got the same passion and drive as you.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough, maybe big companies or big charities or CICs, but what you've got is something small, but I can see like this acorn grow into a massive oak tree, Carly.
Yeah.
And, you know, your plans for the future, it's been, 7 months now since you set it up last
July,
June?
June, yeah.
So you've got, you've conquered.
What are the plans for the future? Tell us. Where do you want to take it?
I'd like Tiny Tool hubs in loads of different places. At the moment, I don't have premises because, one, I don't want to spend my funding on premises. I want to be able to help as many people as I can. So a lot of community venues support me, and I'll use them, and we support each other. So Charlotte's Brightside in New Brighton. Shout out to Anne, she's fabulous.
Brilliant.
And Quirky Cafe in Hoylake. So Suzanne there is amazing. So we're working quite a lot in collaboration. And just, so for me, I'd like my own Tiny Tool hubs, and I'd want them to be everywhere, not just in one place. The problem with that is you have to let go a little bit, and that's probably where I will struggle.
You know what, I was
This
the same.
is my baby.
I'm sometimes the same with the charity. I mean, I have these wacky ideas as chair, and I say, oh, what do you think of this, guys? And it's like, shot down. I'm like, well, I thought it was a good idea. But because it is your baby, you realise that you have to like go and trust people. And, you know, Sam, Eddie, Richard, trust with my whole life. So anything that they say, no, we always have a good debate about it. And one thing that I always struggle with is I can't time to myself by 5. I did a lot. I did football, run a football club, run a charity. I've got my own business now. So it's very difficult to split all that and have a family as well.
You've got a podcast now as well, Chris.
And a podcast.
Man of many talents.
I always say it's better than watching Coronation Street. But do you know what? Even like the storylines of the soap sometimes are quite good because it does show children in a neurodiverse setting. I know there's a kid on Coronation Street who's very smart. He's been for a number of years. And there's currently like a grooming story going on with a teacher at a school, and this young kid who's very smart, he's obviously noticed something what's happening. He's all cleared up about it, but he's not able to tell anybody about it properly because you know, it might be what he's thinking. Maybe he's autism or something like that it's holding him back. But it's interesting to see that play out. And that's in a soap, isn't it? You know?
And hopefully, you know, the more, you know, it needs to be education needs to be really brought about what children are suffering with and what adults are suffering with. It's not just children, you know, and there's a missed generation. I had quite a bit of abuse on social media a few times of people going, oh, you know, didn't that exist in my day? No, of course it didn't, mate. You probably were the most autistic person, but no, of course it didn't. Didn't exist in my day. They just need to get on with it. Slap around just tell them to get on. And I'm like, and to be honest, I'm going to get myself banned, I think, off some social media because I can't keep my mouth shut. But for me, education is the biggest thing. Like people say, why is there suddenly loads of autism? Well, because we've got better education, we've got better tools, we have a better understanding. And we're not hiding from it anymore. So, I've seen a really good quote. We didn't know there was many stars till we got telescopes. So that's
amazing. Love that.
I'm going to use that in work tomorrow.
But we didn't, did we? We wouldn't have known those stars there till we got the ability to find them and see them. So for me, Ian, I say he's undiagnosed all the time. So my husband's 58, and there was never a thing in that, in that day. It was naughty boys in the corner, it was canes, it was, all those kind of things.
We mentioned this
in the first episode, didn't we? Yeah, I mentioned that because I remember a few of my friends who, actually one person, this is how bad this is, like back, I'm 30 years old now, 31 soon. But when I was in high school, there was one friend in my full class year who got diagnosed with ADHD. And he wasn't even that bad. I didn't even notice that much. He was obviously a bit naughty sometimes, getting sent out of class. But obviously back then, there wasn't much research behind it and what it was. As you've said, in that generation, it was put them outside the classroom and they've been naughty and they'll come back in. That's it.
Well, it didn't even get recognised in women till the 2000s. So that's when it started to be recognised in women because it was always a naughty boys syndrome issue. And any testing... so the framework for ADHD testing and stuff is all very male orientated. So it doesn't look like, I have a lot of girls who come to me who just mask. They mask all the time. They're the perfect, perfect student, perfect everything. But inside they're really struggling. When I look back at my school reports, it was if Carly wasn't so easily distracted, if Carly didn't talk too much, not much changes. If Carly would just concentrate instead of going into her own world. Like, you look back at my report, I was constantly losing things, constantly leaving things. I'd hyper-focus on one thing, then switch on the other. I've struggled with jobs over the years because after a couple of years, I just think, this is off I go. And I'll start something else and I'll start a new job or I'll have a new idea and everyone's like, oh, what are you starting now? I've got like...
that is definitely me, by the way.
Do you know what? I think she's just describing me as well.
I've got wetsuits and all sorts, like candle making and all this stuff. And I've never done anything
for me,
with
at the minute, it's watches.
Watches?
Yeah, so I watched that. Is it Tim Hayden who does that Love Your Journey? You got to find him and all that. Well, I bought a couple of his watches and I was like, oh, these are nice. And then started looking at other ones and that's nice, I'll buy that one. I bought my first one at like October time. I've currently got about 16 watches, but only one wrist that I wear it on. So,
do you know what, Sam? I've not got time for that.
Oh, very good. That is being edited out of this episode, by the way. I'm just saying that.
But do you know what? I think Carly's hit the nail on the head. Before we came live for the second part of this episode, I was saying to Sam, I dip into that many things, or I have done, especially for work. In the last 2 years, this is why I set my own business up in November, because the last 2 years I have 4 different jobs. Doing the same job role, which I really enjoy, I've got a passion for, but I couldn't settle anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was going from one thing to another and thinking, because I've got the experience, I can just walk into one job to another. And it got to a point in October time, I was thinking, I can't carry on like this. No. It doesn't look that good on my CV anyway, but why am I job hopping? And it was because I wasn't happy with myself. Yeah. And, we had a job before that I'm probably undiagnosed. My wife always says it. And, Ian's probably the same as well. There's a lot of people, adults, who probably are. Yeah. So what kind of advice would you give to them right now? Would it be to get testing and do all that kind of stuff?
So I think for me, and this is one on Saturday, I've got my women's course, and one of the biggest things is just learn to accept yourself. Don't try and fix yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just different, and that's fine. That's allowed. If we were all the same, life would be very boring. For me, diagnosis let me forgive myself for my past mistakes. It let me let go of some shame. Some things I probably, wasn't very happy with myself for making decisions that I made over the years. So that allowed me to go, it's okay. You give yourself a cuddle. It's okay. So for me, I personally think getting diagnosed has helped me. It's not for everyone. And if you don't feel you need it, don't but learn about yourself and learn ways to help yourself and learn, coping mechanisms. And as I say, just be kind to yourself. Like, I used to be terrible thinking, why have I forgotten this again? Like, why have I sent my kid in school uniform or non-uniform again? Like, why am I doing it? Why can't I just act like everyone else? Why can't I be good at things? And I think for me now, it's like, oh, well, I call myself a squirrel because I'm like, ooh, like constantly. So, I think for me, just be kind to yourself, forgive yourself, and don't look at other people and compare yourself, because we're all different.
Absolutely. I think, I think the education system is culpable for that, treating every child the same. There's a drawing that I saw years ago, and it's got a range of different animals. It's got like a monkey, a giraffe, a hippo, blah, blah, blah. And it says, right, in today's lesson, we're going to learn to climb that tree. And obviously the monkey's going, happy days, I can do that. And the hippo's going, fucking no chance of doing this, mate. Do you know what I mean? But that's what the education system does. It teaches every child the same way, but not every child learns the same way. And I understand it's difficult to cater lessons for every single child. I get that. It's not possible. But I think we could be doing more.
I think if the curriculum was better written, and bear in mind, our school system has been the same for as long as the school system's lasted. There's never been any real reform from it. There's never really been any change. I think the curriculum's getting a bit better now, as in some schools are starting to offer more like construction, or those sort of lessons. Like, that's what Jacob's Chosen for All is like construction art kind of stuff. But until it's across the board, we're not going to see kids thriving. I think there's always going to be academic kids who want to go on to uni and want to do that. But I think society's changed so much, and the schools just aren't catching up, and they're not bringing that kind of that passion. Like, for example, in the Hive, I was on at Liverpool University the other day for a talk. There was a gentleman there, and he's doing a entrepreneurs course for kids in the February half term. So it's on at the Hive. I think it's 4 days. It's totally free for kids to go, and it's basically about entrepreneurship and starting your own startup. And 5 of the kids who come with the best ideas will win £100 each. So that's something really good for kids to get involved with and just start thinking differently, because a lot of the time neurodivergent brains end up entrepreneurs or end up in that field because they think differently, they think outside the box, and a 9 to 5 doesn't fit them. And I think that's just brilliant what they're doing. It's really, really, it'll be life changing for some kids, because it'll give them something they're good at, and they'll get a kick from that.
You saying that, I've got to tell you 2 really quick stories. I'll be as quick as I can with them. But Finn, when he was younger, first story is he was at nursery. He was 3 years old. They're playing out in the garden, and the teacher said, right, come on, time to pack everything away, put the bikes back in the shed, we've got to go back inside now. Finn didn't want to go back inside, so the teacher took the first bike in the shed, he followed her, closed the door behind her, locked her in the shed, and they all got to stay out in the garden for extra 20 minutes until another teacher came out and went, Where's Aisling gone? And Aisling's banging on the door of the shed going, let me out, because Finn didn't want to go inside, he wanted to stay outside and play.
So thinking outside the box, I'll just lock her in
thinking outside
there.
the box. Another thing about thinking outside the box, we sent him to a summer camp, during the summer holidays for school. You take them 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. or whatever, and they go and they play and they do loads of great stuff and fun stuff. He was 4 years old. We sent them his EHCP and said, listen, do you think you can, take him in? And yeah, well, no problem. Get a phone call at 10:30 on the first morning. Can you come and pick Finn up? Why, what's up? I think it'd be better explained in person rather than over the phone. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's set fire to the building, or something's gone on. What he'd actually done was he'd seen a church up the road and he liked the look of it. So he was watching parents drop the kids off, and he was watching what they were doing to be buzzed in through the electric gate. So he then went inside the building to see where that was coming through, because he could hear a voice. He found the box, seen what the adult did, so then grabbed the kid and went, when you hear my voice come through there, press that button for me, mate, please. He ran back outside in the yard, put his hand through the fence, pressed the button, went, "It's me." The lad pressed the button and he was gone. He was off.
Church.
Up towards the church to go and have a look at it because he was bored. "Oh, I was bored, Dad. I want to go and have a look at the church." He was 4.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
I smell all that.
Yeah, do you know what? A similar story. Kyle's my 22-year-old, and he was in nursery, about the same 3. And he wanted to play in water and they wouldn't let him play in water. So him and his other little friend went into the bathroom, put toilet paper in the sink, and then turned the taps on to get water to play in. So then he was about 3. So they caught him, told him off. So they told me, and I was like, right, Kyle, you can't do this, blah, blah. Second time, did it again. By the 3rd time, I said to the nursery people, listen, I'm not being funny. You know they're going to go and do it. I'm not shouting at him for it because you need to be like looking after him. He wants to play with water. Can you not just have water on certain days so that he knows? Like, it's sensory. It's, he wants to do it. And I thought, do you know what? Fair play. If you're going to keep doing it and you're going to keep letting him, then I'm not going to argue with him.
Let him flood your school. I'm not bothered. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
He did. He shut the door one day as well. That wasn't probably the best idea because it totally flooded. But yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Do you know what? I've really enjoyed this episode. Much more, not than I expected because I knew it was going to be great. But the conversation has gone from one thing to another, but it's always circled back to the main story, which is obviously tiny tools for big feelings.
Yeah.
How you can provide tools to people, adults, children, to cope with their big feelings.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, it's brilliant. How can we find you on social media, Carly? What have you got?
So I've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of them. And we've got our own website as well. So our website is obviously www.tinytoolsforbigfeelings.co.uk.
Absolutely incredible. Carly, honestly, you're our first guest on this podcast, and I genuinely mean this. We are going to struggle to have a better episode than this.
Oh, thank you.
It might all be downhill from here, Chris. We might have to call it a day, and that'll be it.
Do you know what? I'll tell you that though.
Yeah, honestly, that was amazing. Carly, thank you so much for coming down. Chris, where can everybody find us?
Yes, so we are also on Facebook, Instagram, not on TikTok yet. I mean, maybe in a few months' time when we've got the profile, we can start getting the cameras in, get the green screens in.
I've stopped putting makeup on for the episode.
Yeah, so it's mine's on the Mersey.co.uk. Everything's on our website. We've actually got a new email address, Sam, as well.
Yes, so if anyone wants to get in touch, if anyone wants to ask questions, if anyone wants to come on as a guest, contact us at minesonthemersey@gmail.com. Thank you, as always, to our sponsor, Pig and Bun, and Rick. He's a legend. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, and I don't see why you wouldn't, because it's been absolutely phenomenal, please like, comment, rate, and subscribe to the podcast. That will help us out enormously. Yeah, that's it. Amazing. Chris, thanks very much.
Thanks,
Carly,
Sam.
legend.
Thank you.
Nice one. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.